Hey guys, we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about a bunch of things, including the huge earthquake that happened in the north of Japan. We got like 15 stories about that. We're also going to talk about, more Ukrainian refugees entering Japan. We're going to talk about how the immigration doors might be opening soon. Might not also be. We're also going to talk about how a campsite discriminated against same-sex couples by having a stupidly worded rule.
Okay.
Roll that intro. Dun, 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 dun. We should talk a little bit.
Oh yeah, I forgot we talked over the intro.
Yeah, we do.
How you doing today, Mitch?
Well, I hung out with somebody today that I hadn't seen in a long time. That person might make a secret little appearance at the end of the show, so maybe you should watch to the very end on YouTube.
Oh, who could it be?
So it was kind of fun. We had some laughs. Live, laugh, love.
Was there love?
No.
Oh, okay.
Probably not. How are you, Mr. Engaged?
I'm good.
Good?
Still engaged too.
Still engaged?
Yeah.
She didn't break up with you yet?
Not yet.
That's how you do it. See, I did it wrong, right? Oh, dude, the thing we were supposed to talk about last week, we're going to talk about it this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Maybe.
What thing is that?
There's something that I wanted to rant about last week.
Oh, at the end of the show last week that you were
Totally forgot about
at.
that last week, but we're going to do now. Maybe not now. Maybe later. Because it's kind of ranty. It's going to be a hot take, guys, so it'll be later kind of thing. Anyway, hey everybody. This is Small Talk Japan. We talk about Japan stuff in English. I'm Mitch. You are?
Josh.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
Nice. Dude, they say that. Don't say, guys, pro life tip, never say nice to meet you in English.
Yeah? Why is that?
Well, because if you're like me and you don't remember people.
That's true.
So you just always say, oh, nice to see you. It's nice to see you.
Now, Mitch's approach is like whenever someone approaches Mitch and they're like, oh, Mitchy, he's always like, oh, hey, wow, you lost weight. Even though he has no idea who that is.
No idea who you are, but you lost weight. Good on you. And then like sometimes they're like, no, I got fatter. I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Other times they're like, oh, we've never met. I just know you from TV or radio.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like, didn't you get it? Like somebody told you one day, it's like, oh, I saw Mitch and said hello to him. And he was like, pretended he knew who I was, but he doesn't know who I am.
Yeah. I think it was one of our students, like in the adult program that I teach. I showed them a picture of you. And then I think the following week they were like, oh yeah, I said hello to him, and then he pretended like he knew me.
I'm sorry, like it's just this. So okay, one, everybody's wearing a mask, okay, so that does not help. And then two, it's like when so many people know me but I don't know them, or like maybe I met them once, and it's like, especially in Japan, if like everybody's default like race when they're born is Japanese, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've got this like Super Saiyan blonde thing over here.
Yeah.
It's really easy to remember that.
You paid to win for your character?
I paid for DLC.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to remember that, but it's really hard to like, the other way around.
Right.
So like, I'm not trying to be like an elitist dick or anything. I just cannot remember that capacity of people.
Although I did have a similar situation the other day that I was kind of surprised by.
Really?
It was in a level check, actually. Mm-hmm. I was doing the level check, and then we did the whole thing. And then at the end of it, there's like my self-introduction. I'm like, okay, hi, my name is Joshua Kenzo Morinaga. Please call me Josh. And then they looked at me and they were like, are you on UFM's Cheers? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I listened to that show and that's why I wanted to learn English.
Oh, nice.
And they're probably going to be a student if they can find a time slot for it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But it was the first time I've had someone recognize me from Cheers, the radio show.
The best thing about the radio show is because we do a radio show on the big FM station here. And like the best thing about it is because it's recorded and then it's played in nighttime on a Sunday. Okay. I will be in an izakaya drinking somewhere. Right. And just be talking to somebody. And then all of a sudden I hear my own voice.
Yeah.
From like the kitchen. And I'm like, what the hell? It's like okay, so from my perspective, the radio is something that I have to do as like a job. So I go there, I talk to the people who are all my friends, and then we're done with it and it's done. I never actually listen to the show.
Right.
And so I never consume it, so I don't think about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so like when I hear it as a show with like background music, it's all produced and everything, I'm like, what the hell is this? It's weird.
Yeah, it is. I went to my dad's house once, and just by chance he was listening to the show. So like I entered his house and then I heard your voice. I was like, what the hell?
Why is Mitch in my dad's house?
Yeah.
No, so it's like, it's weird. And then like also when I was on TV, I mean, I quit the whole TV thing. Finally, they let me go because they canceled the show. No, seriously. Okay, here's a hot take on this. Okay, so Japanese TV, it's great. So I did this TV show for 5 years, I think it was. After the first year, I was like, can I quit? So in Japan, you have to actually ask to quit. I mean, you could quit, but it's like really frowned upon.
Yeah, for like all jobs, right? Like you have to ask permission to quit, right?
No.
Not really? Not all jobs?
No.
Oh, I thought it was a thing in Japan where you have to like ask to quit.
Oh, no. In Japan, I see. I thought you were talking about the whole world. Yeah, in Japan, basically.
Oh, yeah, in Japan.
I mean, like the verbiage is like, yame sasete kudasai, please allow me to quit.
Yeah.
And so like, you can just quit. Okay. I mean, that's legally, you can do that, but it's a really frowned upon thing.
Right.
So anyway, after a year of doing TV, I was like, this sucks. I mean, it didn't suck. It was actually a lot of fun, but it was really, really hard on me physically because it was like, wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to this convenience store and buy these things and stand outside. And it's not like, and then they just run up on me with fucking camera crew and lights and shit. And they're like, you look hungover. I'm like, I am hungover. It is 3:30, so I'm still drunk.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not hungover. I'm still drunk.
And then they're like, all right, get in the van. We're going somewhere you don't know where we're going. You're going to meet some people you don't know. And then we're going to talk about some like, I don't know, company or business or something that you don't have vocabulary for. And I'm just like, great, let's do this. So after doing that for a year, while running my company, I mean, at that point I only had one company, so, didn't have two, but like while running my company, they're like that. And the thing is every time I like humble brag, sure. But every time I was on TV, like the rating would go up because again, it's like, what is this thing speaking Japanese on TV? So people watch. And, so they're like, because the agreement when I got on TV was that I was going to be on for 1 hour a week. So I have to go to a location, they shoot the video, they edit it, they make 7 minutes of video, and then I go to the station, we do the live broadcast, they introduce the video, and we talk about it, blah, blah, blah. So that was the agreement. And then suddenly that turned into like 15 locations a week.
15?
No, like it was like every day, some days 2 locations. And they knew that like my working hours were basically from the afternoon to the evening because like that's the time that the school runs.
Right.
And so they would just make things earlier. Like I said, like 2 a.m. So it's impossible to sleep. I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep at all. So I told them after the first year, I was like, guys, this is killing me. I can't do this anymore. And they're like, why don't we reduce you down to 1 time a week? I'm like you guys told me that you were going to do it originally. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. And that worked for about a month. And then I went back to having crazy hours again. And then the producer changed. And then I just stopped picking up my phone. So I had this one corner, it was called Hello Michi, because of course it's Japan. And so like that was the only, because I'm a personal friends with the director of that was the only phone call that I answered. Everything else I would just like refer to the staff and they would pick it up and be like, oh, he's busy, and just kind of run away from it at that point. Anyway, they never let me quit. And at the very end, let's just say that the main MC of the show was maybe doing things that he shouldn't be doing and stuff. Why are we talking about this?
I don't know.
Oh, the recognizing people thing?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, right. So anyway, you go to a location, you film, and then you play it on TV, right? So every now and then I'd be like walking around and see like videos of me on TV and doing, because they're always doing stupid shit. And it's just, it's weird because it's like that person on TV, first of all, is like dressed and acting differently than I normally do. And it's just like, it's out of body experience. It's just like, wow, this is weird. You know what I mean?
Oh, I've never been on TV, so
You've never been on TV? No, you were the one time. We put you on TV doing the ramen thing.
I wasn't in the company for that.
You weren't there for that?
No.
How long have you worked for me?
For 6 years, 1 month, and 6 days.
Okay. I should remember these things.
No, actually, I was on TV once when they had some kind of American corner thing, and they came to the school with Komamon. And
oh yeah, you were literally on screen for 2 seconds saying Josh Hawaii or whatever you said.
Yeah, something like that.
I have the video of that. We can put that in small talk if you want.
Maybe in a future episode. I just don't want to edit it.
Josh had a pretty epic week, so he's tired. So Okay, so here we go. Let's hit the news, and we'll do like my ranty thing later. So here we go. There was, if you guys didn't hear about this, a couple days ago, there was a big earthquake in northeastern Japan. It was this is always the hard thing for me. So it's a 7.4 on the Richter scale, what is the international one. And then there's like the Japanese one, which is always like 1 digit lower. Because they'll say like Shindo Yon, and it's like a magnitude 5 earthquake. So it's like, it's always one number different. They have 2 systems. There's like the Japanese system, and then there's like the international system. Anyway, so there's like, unfortunately, this quake was huge, and you can see video of it all over. There's actually one Twitter video that we have that Josh will put into this. The unfortunately, you know, lost their lives and 180 people were injured. But there's more to this story. There's a lot of little stories that came out of this that I kind of want to mention today. Just really quick with the damage. The quake also caused power outages in northeastern and eastern Japan, affecting a total of more than 2.2 million households, including some 700,000 in Tokyo, according to the TEPCO power grid. If you guys remember the word TEPCO, there's a reason for that, because they were the ones that were always in front of the camera talking about the Fukushima nuclear disaster. And because of the location of this earthquake, there was a lot of, let's say, fear that the already damaged and kind of not really fixed Fukushima reactor might have something happen. But luckily, nothing happened, or at least nothing is in the news of anything happening. I don't know if that's the same thing, but should be.
Right.
So I want to talk about one thing that is really cool, and then you have 2 earthquake stories. But one thing that Japan has gotten really good at is like earthquake proofing things.
Yeah, right. Ever since, what was it, like the 60s or 70s or something? Or,
yeah.
After the Kobe earthquake.
Was totally in the 90s, but cool.
Oh, was it? Oh, sorry.
Anyway, no, I mean, like they've always had earthquakes here. This is, Japan, if you guys don't know this, it's on the Ring of Fire. And so they have volcanoes and earthquakes and everything. And so they've always known that this is a thing that they need to look out for. And so their building codes here are crazy. If you look at the buildings, there's like brutalism concrete. The building codes here are really, really crazy. And so like usually when there's really giant earthquakes and stuff like that, there's really surprisingly little damage. And one of the things that they learn how to do is, because if you're going to have the fastest trains in the world, you might want to have a plan for when the earth gets all shaky.
Right.
So a company, not TEPCO, a company that I actually like, JR, they created this thing. It's called JR East, also developed special metal fittings following the 2004 Niigata derailment. The L-shaped fittings on the trains catch rails during events such as earthquakes, minimizing the amount of movement and risk of derailment or collision with other objects along the tracks. Now, unfortunately, this last earthquake, there was a Shinkansen, which is the bullet train, did derail, but no one was seriously injured. It's like no injuries. So it did derail, but it stayed where it was supposed to do. It didn't fold up or wreck or whatever. And so they really figured this out.
Is there information on was that Shinkansen moving at full speed at the time, or? It
says, I think it was moving at full speed at the time, and then. So it says the early detection and emergency brake systems have already proved. So they have these really cool systems where they have monitors for seismic monitors on the ocean floor outside of Japan. If you guys don't know anything about earthquakes, the speed of an earthquake is actually a lot slower than the speed of electricity. The speed of electricity is basically the speed of light, and so. There was actually a web comic that pointed this out. Like, if there's an earthquake in, say, California, and you could feel it in Utah, people will take to Twitter and start tweeting about it. And so people in Utah will know that there was an earthquake and it's coming their way before the earthquake comes, and like well before. And so they have all these early detection systems. We have all of our phones have an app that's installed in them, I think maybe by law, that makes your phone into a scary device.
Oh yeah, I know that they have it in a bunch of different countries, but the Japanese one, I don't know, it's really scary. I hate the sound of that.
Have you ever been on a train when everybody's phone goes off?
Oh yeah, I have in Tokyo. When I was in Tokyo,
that's a horror movie right there. It's traumatizing.
Yeah.
There's 2. It's like whoop whoop whoop. That's when there's an earthquake. There's another one. It's I don't remember the sound of it, but it's when there's floods and stuff like that, and it's just it's so loud.
The other one, the weep 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 one, isn't as bad. The other one is a very ominous sound. It's almost like a da da.
Yeah, that's the you can, if you guys just Google this and on YouTube, everybody's posted these sounds, but the other one's for non immediate action, I think. like there's a flood coming, seek higher ground or something like that. I think that we just like get down under something. Anyway, so those systems are all fed into the what is it called? The control rooms for the JR and stuff like that. So the second that there's a detected earthquake anywhere around Japan, they just all slow down and stop and just wait. And so it's really, I mean, I forgot maybe this is accurate. Maybe you can Google this, but I think that the Shinkansen has never had a fatality in any of their operations. I think that they have a perfect track record.
I think there is one recently.
I don't think that had to do with like a crash though, but
yeah, I don't think it had to do with a crash, but there was like a death on a Shinkansen.
Something happened, but like they've never, I mean, knock on wood, but they never like had a major crash or anything like that. As opposed to like there was a similar kind of bullet train design, I think in China, that like derailed and like killed a bunch of people. But anyway, that this is like one of those things that, I'm kind of cynical sometimes and like sarcastic, but one thing that you got to give it to the Japanese, they know how to engineer, and their trains and buildings are just, they're made for earthquakes. Did you get it?
Well, this is an article from last year, but it says that there's never been an accident that killed someone in the 57-year history.
Yeah, so I think they have a perfect track record, maybe. All right, let's go to your kind of positive-ish news about the earthquake. You got two stories.
Yeah, so my first story is man in his 80s rescued 36 hours after quake in Northeast Japan. So a man in his 80s apparently fell over because of the earthquake, and he was conscious and not injured, but like unable to stand up. And he was just on the ground for 36 hours before one of his acquaintances contacted emergency rescue to like go and check, and they went through his window and just found him lying on the floor.
So like, we make the joke in America, at least, look, I'm falling, I can't get up, because there's like that commercial
Life alert.
That came on. That's okay. If you guys, I mean, I assume that most people watching the show are not like elderly, but elderly people, they really, especially if they're elderly to the age of like 80, when their muscles start to, what is the word?
Atrophy.
And then so they start to lose their ability to like really like prop themselves up and to really move themselves around. And so elderly people need to always stay in a state of like, not everyone, but some of them need to always stay in a state of like control of what they're doing with their body. So like sitting down where they have handles, or like standing where they have like a walker or something like that. And so if you put them in a hard to get up from position, sometimes they just cannot, they don't have the strength to get up. And so that commercial exists because there were these cases before, and they still are now, where elderly people fall down, maybe they get a little injured, and then they just cannot get up, and they just sit like that until, it's a horrible way to die.
You don't have ads on your YouTube account, and he always brags about it whenever he sees ads on my YouTube. He's like, oh, poor man's YouTube. But have you seen the ad for the Apple Watch, like the emergency ads?
I've never seen it. Oh, I've seen like a long ass video on YouTube for an Apple Watch, but it was like minutes long.
They have a lot of ads for Apple Watches, and this is like the only time I've actually thought the Apple Watch is cool. Is like they have like real cases where people were in some kind of emergency situation. It's not always just elderly people, but like people who are like, I don't know, like out at sea or something, and then like they need help or something, and it automatically contacts emergency rescue and like has GPS in the watch and everything like that, or it detects if you fall down.
Yeah.
So if you fall down, it'll like call you, and then if you don't respond, they'll send like emergency to help you.
I was actually, I'm not going to get into why, but I was actually researching the Apple Watch in the case of epileptic seizures.
Oh.
And there was, I forgot, this was years ago. So I think at the time, the only thing that it could really help with is like if you fell down. But like, but yeah, there are a lot of reasons where you would want to have something like that can like automatically contact and call for help.
Yeah, like, I mean, we were talking about in the case of this elderly man, but honestly, like, there are times when like perfectly healthy people are become unable to, what do you call it, call for help and stuff like that.
One of my favorite TED Talks is by a neuroscientist lady. I forgot her name, but she talks about her stroke. And she goes through in very, 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 very like elegant, like eloquent details about all the things that happened to her during her stroke. And what she ended up doing, she saved her own life because she was able to call someone on the phone. but just calling someone on the phone became like this incredibly difficult thing for her because of how confused she was and how everything was like, whatever. And she wasn't that old. I think she was probably in her 40s or something like that. So that would have been one of those case scenarios where, Apple Watch would have totally been useful. So, but yeah, but good that they found him and he seems to be doing okay. So good job, relatives and rescuers.
Yep. In other news, huge cracks in Tohoku Expressway caused by earthquake fixed the same afternoon.
This is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it was the same thing.
Fukuoka.
Fukuoka. I wasn't going to say Fukuoka, but after the big earthquake 11 years ago.
Oh.
They're like, I'm sure anyone who's interested in Japan has seen those pictures where they're comparing like Japan versus my country. And then it shows like the result of the earthquake. And then like less than a week later, they fix like an entire highway or something versus like, it's like the same picture twice. Like nothing ever changed after 10 years, but
the most dramatic one was in Fukuoka. There was a water leak that caused an entire collapse of an underground structure in the middle of a really, 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 really busy intersection.
Yeah.
So it's basically you just see buildings in this giant hole.
A giant sinkhole, right?
Yeah, that just opened up. And it was like, I forgot, hours later when it was fixed. They like completely, you look at it, it looks like the aftermath of a war. And it's just like 10 minutes later and Japan's fixed it. I mean, that's, like I said, if it's pouring concrete or engineering something, they've got it down. Like there's just no.
Yeah, like it says that there was a tweet that the expressway was repaired at 3:44 the next day. So that's like what 15-ish hours after the earthquake.
Yeah.
That's I mean, when Japan's very efficient at a lot of things, and like you said, this is one of those things that like
construction. Yeah.
Much better than Hawaii construction. Like I think there was something they were building a high school when I was in elementary school, like first grade, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to this high school, and then like they finished it like recently.
This is my new school. It's gonna be great when I'm bigger.
Yeah.
It's like especially the highway system here because it's not free. That's why you don't call it a freeway here. You call it a highway here. It's like it costs money and it is not cheap. It is not cheap, but they are well taken care of highways. I've never seen anything. The only problem I've ever seen on any of the highways is like the cops who pull people over for speeding. Yesterday, I saw a cop that was in a completely non-white crown car, like an undercover cop.
Where was this?
In Tenmonkan. He was like, I don't know, they were going somewhere. They would just like slap their light on the top and just started like ramming through traffic. It was like a Suzuki something.
I've heard there were a few like weird police incidents yesterday in various parts of Kagoshima.
What do you mean?
Like, I didn't hear all the details, but there was something in Kishaba area. Like, I think there must have been like an accident or something where there was like a bunch of police and there were like people on the ground and stuff like that. And then last night, like
that sounds scary as shit.
I didn't hear all the details about it, but and then also in Tenmonkan yesterday there were like a ton of like ambulances and stuff just driving through.
Well, Tenmonkan's got a lot of hospitals, so that's not crazy.
But it was like it was a lot, and it was like just down the street. It wasn't like they were passing by. They stopped.
Well, I don't know. I haven't watched the news in a couple of days. The news these days has just been like coronavirus, Ukraine, and speaking of Ukraine, Japan. This is actually positive news, so positive, guys. Japan will be accepting war-fleeing Ukrainians without a guarantor. So if you guys don't know this, basically, almost all of your immigration, long-term immigration to Japan requires someone to claim you as being responsible for you. And so, like, it basically, if you do something stupid and skip out of the country, then that Japanese person usually is held responsible for those people. In the case of the visas that happen in our companies, that guarantor is me, which doesn't really make any sense to me. But whatever. It's legal. And as of Wednesday, Japan has accepted 73 evacuees with a guarantor since March 2nd, when Prime Minister Fumio Kishida announced that the country would open its doors as part of its humanitarian response, according to the government. And so one of the things that they're doing is any students Ukrainian students that are already in the country or we're going to come here. They're just like, accepting them, letting them stay and stuff like that. And so that is really good.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm very glad about that. So that is very, very good. So that's positive news. And I want to do one more positive story and then we'll jump to you. Japan may allow 10,000 people per day to enter the country in April. So the rub of this is the spread of Omicron has been apparently slowing. So I gotta pick a bone. Some news articles capitalize Omicron. It's not a proper noun. I don't know why it's capitalized in this article, but some people do and other people don't. But anyway, the spread of Omicron has been apparently slowing in many parts of the country, and some urban areas such as Tokyo will want to have the quasi-emergency antivirus curbs end as scheduled next Monday. And there's actually a big push to have everything in the whole country just go back to normal,
including like borders.
That's why they're saying like 10,000 people per day. Now that's not obviously back to pre-pandemic levels, because like I think in 2000 and I don't know, like 19 or 18 or something like that, they had like something like 24 million something visitors or something like that.
I guess I should rephrase my question. Not just borders, but I mean like open public, like to the public, not just like people who are coming in on like work visas and stuff like that. Just like anybody who wants to come in.
So what they're doing right now is they're just talking about the students, increasing the students, and then also like with reason people, not for tourism yet, but with reason. And so I predict, here we go. You guys can hold me accountable if I'm wrong about this. I predict by summer, I still think that we're going to get new variants. I think that we're going to get, there's an emergence of a new variant in Europe. It's an Omicron variant, but it's even like it's Omicron plus. It's like even more spreadable. And so like I think that we're going to continue to do that until, it's just going to be a thing that we have to live with. And so I think what will happen is, and I've talked about this before, pandemics have two endings. There's a scientific ending where the virus is no longer a threat to the population. And then there's the human ending where the humans just go, fuck it. We don't want to do this anymore and just go back to life as normal. And I think that human ending is going to happen somewhere around the summer months this year in Japan. I think you'll see tourism surge back around the summer.
I mean, I do hope it, within reason, like keeping people safe and everything, I do hope that we can start doing things and people can start coming to the country, because one, it's boring, but two,
guys, I'm bored. Come hang out.
I'm bored.
Come hang out.
Nah, it's boring, but also just like the economy, Japan's economy is not doing well.
What are you talking about? You can just keep printing money forever. That's how that works, right?
Oh, right.
Right?
No.
Oh. Well, no, I mean, like I think and we talked about this with Alex, like I think one of the things that this pandemic has caused in Japan is that the local authorities are actually thinking about what is tourism? What do we want to do with this? And if the answer to that question is, let's just cram as many bodies into a small Japanese town as possible, regardless of what money that they spend or what they experience or anything like that, that's probably not the direction we want to go.
Right.
And so I think that going forward, we'll see more like experience-based tourism happening. And I think that we'll see longer stays and things like that. And so, I think, like your backpackers and like those kind of tour, like, where you not coming on a cruise ship and things like that. I think that'll probably come back around the summer. The big giant cruise ships and unloading people and stuff like that, I don't know when that's going to come back. And I kind of don't want it to come back.
Yeah, same.
Have you ever been to Kyoto before the pandemic?
Yeah, I used to live in Osaka, so.
That sucks so bad.
I thought it was okay the first couple of times, but then like I went because I lived in Osaka, I went when it was like not peak busy season. So I was like, oh, wow, it's pretty nice here. And like we got to do the whole experience, go to all the places. And then I went during cherry blossom season one year. And what is it? Kiyomizu-dera.
Kiyomizu-dera.
It's like one of the most popular tourist destinations in
It's the beautiful
Kyoto.
it's the beautiful temple up on the hill that overlooks Kyoto. And it's got beautiful, like, they're growing off the cliffs, these sakura trees.
And it's like a big walk around going through the whole thing. And when I went there with my my classmates for the cherry blossom season, we were literally like packed shoulder to shoulder. Like there was someone like so close in front of me that like my nose is touching the back of their head, and we're all just like walking in sync. Like, okay, I can't even pull out my camera to take pictures.
I'm so glad you just said camera.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't pull anything out.
Yeah, no, it was garbage. It was hot garbage. So I went there twice. I went there one before the huge influx of tourism, long time ago, and I thought Kyoto was a magical place. This is before Japan really like learned how to like be gimmicky on like tourism and stuff like that. And then I went back another time close to the beginning of the pandemic, and it was just like, I don't want to be here. Get me out of here. It was like tons of people, and half of them rolling around little carry cases and shit. I'm like, this is garbage. This is horrible. Like, it sucked. Going to the Golden Pavilion, what is that in Japanese? The Kinkakuji.
Yeah.
That was, oh man, I was just like, no. So I hope that doesn't come back.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, all those places are beautiful places, and it would be great for a bunch of people to come and experience those places. But yeah, like you were saying, the way that they go about experiencing it needs to be rethought, I think.
Disney figured this out actually during the pandemic. They've reopened their parks in America, right? And they put pretty hard limitations on the amount of people that go into the parks. Before, there's actually a really great Defunct Land. It's a YouTuber, and he did this like why the Disney Fast Pass failed. It's like a 45-minute documentary about the Disney Fast Pass and everything. It's amazing. By the way, that's a really funky, weird, great YouTube channel. Defunct Land. They talk about all these like old like amusements at like Disneyland and other theme parks and like why they failed, including some of them that have killed people and stuff like that. It's really good. Anyway, so one of the things that Disney tried to do before was like cram as many people into the fucking parks as they could. Right. And like it's a horrible experience. Like, why would you want to go into a park and stand in a fucking line all day? Right? Yeah. So they figured out, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that. And they also figured out that revenue, there's actually a sweet spot for revenue, right? If there's so many people in the park that they can't buy anything, they're not spending money, right? I mean, yeah, you sold gate tickets, but they're not spending any money in the park.
They get you with the food and all the toys.
No. So what Disney did is they just fucking hiked up their ticket prices. So they're super expensive now. It's like $1 million to get. I think it's like $200 something. Check it out. But it's like a ridiculous amount of money now, which is fine as long as the experience is great. And like, because Disney shouldn't be something that you do every weekend if you go with your family. It should be like something that you look forward to. What is it now? It's like what, $175 for a hopper pass or something like that in America?
Apparently there are tiers right now.
That's fun.
So the cheapest tier for a child is $100. They're about $100 for adult or a child for the cheapest one, and the highest tier is $164.
Yeah. So anyway, the ticket prices got more expensive, and I guess there's tiers now. Is it like DLC? I don't know what that is.
I'm not sure. It's like
one of those... you looked that up, and then so Disney like upped their ticket prices, and then they also like reduced the amount of people that would come into the park. And like it seems to be positive, like all around. Like people are buying more things, people are enjoying the park more, and so that's really what tourism should be like going forward. Is it should be like, if there's a jillion people in Kyoto at the Golden Pavilion, I just U-turn the fuck and nope the fuck out of there. I was like, goodbye. I didn't spend a dime there. Right?
Well, I mean, I don't think you spend any money there anyways.
You can buy the what is it called? The omamori.
Yeah, omamori. What are they called?
Yeah.
Protection
not an amulet, but like a charm, like a lucky charm.
Yeah, lucky charm.
That's really not what they are, but it's kind of like a lucky charm.
After me, lucky charms.
And so there's fortunes that you can buy there. You can spend money there.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was just like, no, get out of here. And like the thing is like Disneyland, there is like roped off pathways. They're like, okay, enter here, and then exit through the gift shop. I was just like, this is the worst Disneyland ever.
Yeah,
it was awful. And anyway, I hope they don't bring that back. That we don't want. And you guys at home are listening to this. If you live here, you know what I'm saying. And if you want to come visit here, I guarantee you don't want to have like a zillion people crowding all the areas.
Yeah, having like a very authentic Japanese experience where it's like a full day thing where like you can like have Japanese tea and experience that kind of stuff would be cool, I think, and worth all the money. It's not really worth it if you're just like walking in, taking a photo and leaving, and then like next week you're like, oh yeah, we did that. Oh yeah, that was cool.
Anyway, you got a story, Josh.
So Japan is considering relaxing guest number caps for large events, provided that guests don't shout.
Yeah.
So what do you call it? Recently they had the
Shout in your heart.
That was a while ago, but mention that the shout in your heart thing. What was that?
So like there was I don't remember which theme park it was, but there
I think it was USJ.
It was either USJ or that one that's what's it called? The Fuji Land or whatever. One of those. Anyway, they had like a scary roller coaster, and they opened kind of during the pandemic, and they're like, everybody, please. They said two things. They said, one, wear a mask, and two, please shout in your heart, or scream in your heart, maybe
Something like that.
Don't actually scream. That was hilarious.
Yeah, but recently, you know BTS, right?
Yeah. I'm not dead.
Have you heard of Korean pop?
Have you heard of this place called Korea?
Anyways, they recently had a concert.
Yeah.
And they broadcasted the concerts live throughout movie
Japan.
theaters in Japan.
Actually, I think it was international, but yeah. One of my ex-girlfriends went to and posted on Instagram. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
A bunch of our students went, but when I asked them, I'm like, oh, how was it? They said it was very fun, but they weren't allowed to like
yell,
sing along or shout or scream or anything. So like they said the entire time they were only allowed to clap. So the entire time everybody was just like, and that's it. Seems very boring to me.
It sounds like dystopian.
It reminds me of the North Korean videos. Have you seen those where they're showing like performances in North Korea and then everybody just has a straight face and they're just all clapping?
Oh, you mean when the idols went to North Korea?
Oh yeah.
Oh dude, that was hilarious. But if you actually watch those videos in their entirety, like in the beginning, the North Koreans are like, what the fuck are these people doing? And then towards the end, they're like clapping and they're into it. They like it. So, they're just kind of surprised in the beginning there.
But anyways, getting back to the article, before they were limiting the number of people like to half to a quarter of the max occupants, but it looks like they're going to be getting rid of the restrictions on the number of people, but everybody must wear a mask and they must not talk in a loud voice. So everybody has to kind of whisper.
It's kind of weirdly dystopian, the whole thing.
Yeah.
That BTS concert thing, the one thing it did remind me of was the introduction to the Macintosh commercial.
Oh, you mean the one that was like supposed
in
to be
1984 won't be like 1984.
Yeah.
Like the girl who's like she's got like the hot blonde hair, like short hair, and she's got like, I think she's an Olympian or something like that, and she throws a sledgehammer into the screen.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it reminded me of, the BTS thing.
Fortnite also did a parody of that.
Oh, they did, when they were making fun of Apple for taking fees from the Apple store.
Which is ironic because it was originally parodied by Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
It's not parodied, it was created by Apple, but yeah.
Well, I know, but they were like kind of parodying from the 1984.
Well, they were
book.
using the 1984 book. Yeah. Right. But that was a brilliant commercial. I don't think there's been a commercial like that since. It was groundbreaking. Anyway, let's go on to this one. So one thing that's happened during the pandemic here is the remote work has really, really increased. And this has actually affected me. I've spent like most of the last 2 years sitting in front of my computer at my house with my boxers on. Well, usually my boxers
I'm glad they're on.
My boxers are usually on.
Okay.
Anyway. And so like most of my dealing with work and everything has just been like calling in and things like that. And there's various reasons for that. But I gotta tell you, it's not been great for my mental health. Like sitting in a room by yourself in silence or with a podcast playing or something like that has not been great for my Japanese, because I haven't really used my Japanese in 2 years. And then two, it's like, I don't know, it's really, really isolating. And so and another thing is it sucks for communication. Like sometimes I'll visit the school and I'll see you guys and it's just like all the problems come out. So we have all these problems. I'm like, all right, tell me. Because, I'm not there in the day to day. And so there's, I don't think remote work is going to go away in Japan. I think it might in fact increase just because people have realized, oh, hey, we can do this from home.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little mixed on the whole working from home thing. Like, I think if you can do things as efficiently or more efficiently, then you should have the option to do it from home.
I think what Josh is saying is if he was at home, he would just sit around and play video games all day.
No, I'm saying like if I can do my job from home, then I would prefer to do it, but not all the time, because like I also am at the studio, our studio here, and am editing videos for like, I don't know, 10 hours at a time. And I hit a wall where I'm just like, I need to talk to somebody, and I'll just like leave for 15 minutes, go find somebody I know and talk to them for a few minutes. Like I don't know. It's hard to just sit by yourself.
So one of the things that I like to think about in that situation is the smoke break. Okay, back in the day, you'd sit at your desk for a couple hours and do something, and then like, every 2 hours or so you go for like a 10-minute smoke break. Talk to some other people who are also smoking, and then you come back to your desk and you kind of feel refreshed, okay? Now that people don't smoke anymore, and if you do, stop, please. But now that we don't smoke anymore so much, we do the social media break, where we take out like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, look at Facebook, Twitter, something like that. Or in your case, just get up and like socialize and stuff like that. That's important. That's absolutely important to the rhythm of work. Like, you need to have that kind of socialization where you're, just kind of giving your mind a little break, a little refresher, maybe get a coffee or something like that. That's all really, really important. And that's why all of these Silicon Valley startups build their offices so that there's these things called these random encounters or random collisions. And so like, which is, there's data that supports both sides of that. But anyway, so basically, like, if you're a finance guy and all of a sudden there's a programmer guy and you like randomly collide in some part of the building, you guys might hatch a really unique and interesting idea. People who normally wouldn't interact with each other.
Right. Just be like, oh, hey, what are you working on?
Yeah.
Oh, well, do you think about doing that?
No, I've never thought about that before.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Right. And so with you, if you're doing something like editing is a creative job, okay? It's draining. You have to be in a right mental place to do it. Otherwise, you're going to do a terrible job at it, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like kind of getting exhausted by it, you need that pickup, you can go, chat somebody up at work, there's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine. As long as you understand that that's a need that you have. And this is one of the things that sucks about remote work is that doesn't happen.
Right.
And the random collisions don't happen. And the collaborations kind of hurt.
Right.
Right. And so one of the things that Japan's trying to do, and again, but the thing is, I don't think remote work is going to go away just simply because it's actually more cost efficient for some jobs to keep them home. Because if you don't have to have a big box in the middle of Tokyo where a bunch of people sit in front of a computer,
right?
Well, that's a cost savings that you don't have to do. So some companies have opted to just keep things permanently remote. Anyway, and so they developed this. As prolonged teleworking due to the coronavirus pandemic leaves remote workers feeling isolated, which is true. I feel it's kind of finishing now. So I'm getting more. I'm seeing people. I'm going outside.
I'm actually here, Mitch. This is real.
I know. Dude, the other day I was like outside in the sun. I was like, oh, that's what that's like. Anyway, I'm mostly kidding about this, by the way. An increasing number of Japanese companies are using online services such as personal consulting software to look after their employees' mental well-being. It sounds really scary, but listen. Using software provided by, we don't need to say the company's name, a female worker in her 20s at NTT Communications, the internet company here that owns everything, has a 30-minute discussion online with her boss every other week. It helps in dealing with the day-to-day minor work problems. Users of the software register topics that they want to discuss with their superiors in advance, book an appointment, and send in memos or other files if they wish. I actually like that. Because one thing that you guys always want is more, if you need me for something, if you need time or like, like consult or something like that, it's like you guys should have that time. Absolutely. And pre-pandemic, the way that worked is I just like had a rotating schedule. I took you guys out for dinner. Like, all right, it's like Wednesday, it's Josh's day. Let's go out and get yakiniku or something.
Yeah.
And we have some beers, talk about shop and stuff like that. But, during the pandemic, it's been limiting.
Right.
Yeah. But, software can help, right?
It's no yakiniku, but I mean, it's better.
What did we always used to go eat? Yakiniku, was it?
We would eat yakiniku. We would eat tebosaki, chicken wings.
Oh, dude, we got this place. It's called Miracle Chicken Wings here. It's so bad for you. It's terrible.
It's like super cheap. It's what was it? It was like less than 3,000 yen, right?
It's 2,500 yen, so $25.
Less than $25 for all you can eat chicken wings of a bunch of different flavors.
Some of them are way better than others.
Yeah, this is true. All you can drink alcohol, and then like unlimited sides like French fries and edamame and
this is for 2 hours, right?
For 2 hours, yeah.
And they give you markers to write on the wall.
That's true.
Because they're like, we don't need to decorate it if you guys decorate it for us.
Yeah, I miss that.
Yeah. Do you remember how disgusting we were crammed in there?
Yeah, I'm thinking about now how I'm like touching all the table stuff, and then I eat with my hands.
Yeah, there was no alcohol anywhere at that time too. Like spray hand alcohol.
Yeah, just this alcohol.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if that kills the
It kills the feelings, but
Kills the feelings, kills the sadness. No, and so like it was fun, just like shoot the shit. And sometimes you get into an argument with your coworkers, whatever. But you get it out there, and then it's done, right? You move on with your life. It was a much more, I think, mentally healthy time for us. And then the pandemic kind of killed all that. Oh, we used to go to that place, the Korean cheesy. What is that thing called?
Cheese takarubi.
Takarubi. Is that the actual? What is it called in Korean?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, but cheese takarubi is so good. I don't even know what it is, but it's great. I have no idea what's in it. It's cheese and stuff.
It's like spicy cheese,
soupy
meat,
dip,
and vegetables.
Chicken, and
It's so good.
that was good. What other places do we miss? We're gonna make you guys hungry. I'm sorry.
I mean, yakiniku is a big one for me. I miss going to yakiniku.
Tsuruichido, I missed that place because it was sumiyaki, charcoal yakiniku, and really good meat. And the owners were from Amami Oshima, and they're like these darling people. I loved them. Actually, when they had closed during the pandemic. I actually went there for like last kampai with the master, and like I got teary-eyed. Like I was like tears are coming out of my eyes. I was like, this was like a place that we went to, and it's gone. But he said he's going to bring back a washoku yasan, a Japanese restaurant.
That's cool.
A Japanese restaurant in Japan? I don't know. When all the restrictions and everything are over, what are you going to go eat?
Everything. I don't know. There's like, I've realized that because I'm good at cooking, but I'm not really good at cooking Japanese food. That I haven't eaten.
Wait, you too?
I don't make a lot of Japanese food, so like I haven't eaten good Japanese food in a while. Like sushi, like I never really ever craved sushi that much, but like that's one thing that I haven't really eaten in the past couple of years. I'm just like, yeah, eating some sushi sounds nice, and I don't know, all Japanese food basically.
Well, what we'll do is like, probably next couple, maybe 3 or 4 weeks from now, I think that everything's going to kind of just be like, okay, let's just, and then, I got to take you to Slow Food Haru.
Oh yeah.
We got to go there. That place is so good. You guys, if you ever come to Kagoshima, there's a place called Slow Food Haru, and it sounds exactly what it is. Like you go there, you relax, eat slowly, enjoy the atmosphere, propose to your girlfriend, or talk to her.
I didn't propose to her there, but
You talked to the dad there. Met the dad there. All right, let's go to a kind of, I don't know how I feel about this story, but this one happened here in Kagoshima, and it's anglers. This is what this news source is calling fishermen. Anglers, including boy, jump into sea after boat catches fire in Kagoshima. So it's basically what happens. A boat with a captain and 14 anglers on board caught fire on Sunday afternoon in the Kagoshima prefecture in Makurazaki. And then everybody jumped into the boat. After the boat, it's kind of cold right now. It's not so cold, I guess.
It's not so bad right now.
But the ocean's probably cold.
Yeah.
So everybody jumps in the water. They get rescued. No serious injuries. And so the 9 people were taken to hospitals, including there was a young boy as well. And the 8 other men in their 30s to 60s were fine. Everybody was okay after that. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up, 2 reasons. One is because it's from Kagoshima. And two, since I got my boat license in Japan with Tokyo Lens's Norm. If you guys haven't seen the episode, check it out on his channel. One of the things that they teach you, and I actually got this wrong on the practice test. I couldn't believe that it was the actual answer. But they're like, in the case that you run out of fuel or that you're stranded and just kind of like adrift in your boat.
Yeah.
Like they're like, it basically it says like, which one of these things should you not do? And it gives you all these things, and it went A, B, C, D, and I got to C, and I didn't read D, but I got to C, and I was like, oh, it's gotta be C. C was like, what did it say? It's like, put like oiled or like oily rags or something like that into a garbage can or a can and light them on fire.
Okay.
To produce smoke so you get rescued.
I mean, if it's a controlled fire, it makes sense.
Just that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I was just like, that's so dumb. D was even worse. I forgot what D was. It was like swim to shore or something like that. And then but I circled C and I was like, that's no way. And then I got it wrong. I was like, what the fuck? You referred to the manual, this giant manual. And I'm like going through it, and it is indeed a recommended thing to do if you're stranded at sea, is to make smoke by setting something on your boat on fire.
mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it.
No. It's so bad.
I mean, if your boat's on fire, then someone's going to see that.
Yes, somebody will see that. You're supposed to have a flare on your boat at all times. In fact, you're supposed to inspect your boat for various things, including registration, life vests, and a flare every single time. And so, like, you should be able to... And also, everybody... My boating license only allows me to go, I think, 20 clicks from the shore. So, like...
How far is a click?
It's a kilometer.
Oh, okay.
20 kilometers from the shore.
I didn't know what.
Maybe it's 20 nautical miles, because weirdly enough, a lot of the stuff is like made by the British and the Americans, so there's miles and stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, and so like cell phone service totally works, so it's okay for me. I'll just call. You don't call the police though. You call the Coast Guard. Unless you're in a lake, then you call the police. You have to learn these things.
What's the number for a Coast Guard in Japan?
001 or no 100. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 011. I think it's or 017.
Just type in
Google
any
it.
number.
Google it. 017.
Any combination of zeros and ones.
I learned this. I just completely forgot it because it's like I don't know. It's somewhere. You can Google it. It's like I think it's maybe 117. Maybe that's what it is. I don't remember. Coast Guard number Japan. Anyway, while you're doing that, I wanted just to say, please don't set your boat on fire. And I'm glad that all of these people are okay. And by the way, if you've never been fishing in Japan, it's one of the most amazing experiences ever because I catch all the fish and Josh just looks there sad.
I was filming.
That's true. Oh, Futoshi's in town. We might go fishing.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Coast Guard is 118.
Well, what's 117?
There is no 117.
Well... Whatever.
It's 110 for police, 118 for the Coast Guard, 119 for fire, ambulance, emergency rescue. And
so it's 118, guys. The more you know. I learned this, okay? I just forgot it.
You call yourself a seaman.
No, I don't. I call myself a skipper because that's what you're technically called, a skipper. Dude, like, as I was studying all this stuff, they're like, in Tokyo Bay, here's all the rules. I was like, I'm never boating in Tokyo Bay. I'm like, although Norm did, and he's got a video on it. It's actually pretty cool. But like, I'm never going to boat in Tokyo Bay. I'm like, I'm only going to boat in Kagoshima or the islands down here. Like, I'm like, and it's pretty safe. I mean, we've gone out on the boat, what, once now?
Yeah, I went once.
I mean, yeah.
It was a very small boat.
It's a very small boat. It is like a toy boat, the rental boat that you have. But Futoshi's boat, I have a friend named Futoshi. He's a business owner that comes down here and like basically parties for a week or two and goes back up to whatever he's doing. But he's got a boat parked in the bay here, and he's like, Mitch, if you learn how to drive it, you can basically keep the keys while I'm not around. I'm like, okay. First time I tried to park his boat in his little tiny spot, it was like yelling time for him. He was like, don't, what are you? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's a huge boat. It's really big. It's got a toilet and a room on and everything. Anyway.
Do you like plastic models?
Puramo? What are they called? Puramoderu? Puramo? I forgot what they're called. But yes.
You with all your weird Japanese names.
No, I'm telling you, it's a fucking word. Anyway, continue.
Have you ever built a plastic model?
Yes.
Do you know where the plastic model capital of Japan is?
Huh? Yeah, because I picked the story, but I don't remember.
Japan's plastic model capital installs working plastic model style payphones. So we'll put some of these photos on the video podcast.
They're hilarious.
Yeah, so in Japan, they have plastic models where they're like all linked together with the plastic rim. I don't know how you would describe
So whenever
that.
you make something in plastic, it's called mold injected plastic. And so when you inject the plastic, basically everything needs to be touching it inside the mold. It has to all like travel through, like you can just imagine water going through a system of like little channels and stuff like that. So the little bars are not only there to keep it together, but they're also the supply route for where the plastic enters the little mold. And then that's where you get the plastic model.
So they make those by like basically casting.
Yeah, they cast the molds, right? And then they clamp them together and inject plastic into them.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then they take them off and they have the little plastic model.
But basically, Shizuoka City is installing all of these payphones, which I'm surprised that they're like making payphones in Japan still.
I think there's a rule for them that you have to have them in case of an emergency in some places or something like that.
I see. Well, yeah. Anyways, they're making all of their payphones look like giant plastic models, and So we're showing some of the pictures on the YouTube podcast now, but it looks pretty cute. Like it looks like a good like photo opportunity.
And it's got this cute little like placard on it. It says what's the name of the city again?
Shizuoka City.
Shizuoka. It says Shizuoka, a model city, is what it says on it. It's so cute. I was like, oh, that's cute. Anyway, I like plastic models. I think it's whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's get on to the kind of controversial one here, and we'll see if you guys have a hot take on this. So, there was this campground in Japan here, where it's in Kotaro-iwa camping ground. See, I told you guys I'm shit at reading Japanese and English. And they had this rule because they basically didn't want people to come to the camping ground and have like giant like bro parties.
Okay.
That's it. That's the reason why this rule exists. They don't come here and make a big bro party. So they wanted to keep the campgrounds for like couples or like families and things like that.
They want to keep it clean, basically.
Right. So they made this really stupid rule where it's like you have to be a couple or parent and child to stay there. And the way that they defined a couple was a man and a woman, because if you and 10 of your bros all because like these like campgrounds like 2 people per whatever unit, it's like if you and another dude and there's another dude and another dude and it becomes a bro party, right? So they're like, we want couples to come here. So a couple is a man and a woman.
What if it's like 10 people, but there are like 9 men and 1 woman?
Then you can't do it, according to the rules that were actually changed, so you can now. But before you couldn't, okay?
Okay.
You had to like, unless you're a family, you had to like 1 and 1, you know.
You had to Noah's Ark it?
You had to Noah's Ark it, dude! That's the fucking title for the show. You gotta Noah's Ark it. Anyway, so a same-sex couple went there. This blew up on Twitter. This is why this is a news story. But a same-sex couple went there, and they're like, nope. And they're like, why? They're like, you're not a couple. Couple is defined as a man and a woman. It's in the rule book. We have it. It's printed somewhere. And like they had no intention of discriminating against homosexual people. They just didn't think about this when they were making the rule back in the 1980s or whatever. And
once the rule is set, then
it's forever.
Yeah.
We got to always follow the rule. Unless everybody at Twitter gets really, really angry at us and then we're scared and then we suddenly change it. And that's what happened. Good job, guys.
So what's the new rule?
You still have to be a couple, but you can be a same-sex couple.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I understand the reasoning for it, that they want to make it a place that's like good for families and stuff like that.
This has changed now, but when I was a child, I'm not kidding. When I was in my 20s, okay, and me and a friend tried to stay at a love hotel because if you guys don't know this, Japanese love hotels are like places you go to do your taxes. you could imagine what you do in a love hotel. But they're like by the hour, and they can sometimes be a lot cheaper than staying in a normal hotel and way more fun. And so like my plan was with this dude that I was traveling with was like, hey, let's just go to a love hotel for like a couple hours crash.
Just a couple hours.
Just a couple hours. There's nothing gay about this whatsoever.
I mean, if there is,
a little bit gay, but anyway, I'm just saying, but it was completely platonic. Okay. Anyway, like there's usually not staff at the love hotels. There's like a automated system for you to get your room, or if there is staff, they're like they can't see you. They can only see your hands. Have you ever been to a love hotel?
I haven't. No.
Wow, you should go. You want to go together?
Only if it's platonic. I need to do my taxes.
Anyway, before at the love hotels, like they would reject you if you were 2 guys, because like they didn't want you to use it as like a short stay like business hotel essentially.
So it wasn't like against like gay couples or anything. It was more
because they just didn't think I mean, maybe some places were discriminatory, who knows, but I think it was just mostly because they're just like, oh, you're not a couple. And so anyway, like we went there and they're like, oh, we don't do 2 guys, you can't stay here. And like my friend, even though neither of us are gay, was just livid. He's like, what is this discrimination? And I was just like, dude, it's cool. We'll just go to like an Uppa hotel, which is basically a love hotel. Screw you, Uppa hotel, and your silly manager, owner, lady. Doesn't matter.
At least they let you in.
Now it's totally cool. Now it's like most places are like same-sex friendly. They just don't allow like, parties, which it's really sad because there's a love hotel here in Kagoshima that has like this entire top floor with like a swimming pool inside and stuff. And I've always wanted to have like a just huge, not a sex party, just a party there.
That does make that's a good point though, that hotels in Japan, they charge you by the person.
By the person, yeah.
Instead of by the room. I mean, probably to prevent you from doing those things and other reasons, like all reasons that we can talk about in a different episode.
Sleeping with my friend, you mean?
What? No, I mean, like they charge you by the person so that they can like provide food and all that, right? But it reminded me like, oh yeah, like when I was in high school and we would go to other islands for conventions and stuff like that, we would rent one room and then there would be like 15 of us sleeping in that room.
Yeah, that's what we did when we were like, when you're young and you're traveling and you're doing whatever.
Yeah.
Even for our prom. So for prom, we rented a giant, with Vegas, okay? We rented a giant 30-person stretch, like suburban limo. And then we stayed in this giant corner suite in a huge hotel. And there was like 50 of us and we're all drunk. Why did they let me do this? Like, anyway, it was all on my credit card when I was 18. Anyway, so that's what you do in America. But like in Japan, they're like counting you as you go in.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to do the last story, and then I'm going to share my little rant from before, and it's going to be my little hot take for just a sec. So, new floating 3D signs in Japanese train station make you feel like you're in a video game. You guys just have to watch this on the YouTube version of the podcast. If not, just Google this. But yeah, they're like trick art, so they like pop up and they look like they're floating, kind of like you're playing like a game of like Mario Kart or something.
Trick art is kind of a big thing in Japan, isn't it?
Yeah, they really like it, don't they?
Like I've seen in multiple prefectures, they have trick art museums.
Really, really like it.
But anyways, if you are an audio listener, we do include all of the articles in the description of the audio podcast.
Yeah. So you can just click on it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we start this rant of mine? If you guys want to tune out now, it's fine. But listen. So like I have this business meeting that I need to go talk to the owner of a restaurant of izakaya. And it's for a media related thing. He's also involved in media and stuff like that. And so I want to go talk to this guy. So I set up a day to go there. I set up another person to take there that wants to see him. So it's like going to be the three of us, right? And then suddenly I get a phone call from, it's like, let's say it's like on 8 o'clock on a Friday, okay? Suddenly I get a phone call from him. He's like, Mitch, ごめんね、本当にまずいことなんですけど, which means like, I mean, I don't mean to, he's like, まずい, what would it be like? This is an uncomfortable thing. Like I'm sorry to call you and bother you, but this is a really uncomfortable thing. And I was like, nani, doshita? I was like, what's wrong? And he's like, いや、本当にまずいこと、もう言いたくないんだけど. And I was like, okay, what? And he's just like, yeah, well, you know how you had a reservation for 5 minutes from now? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, your ex-fiance just walked in and is sitting right in front of me, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Because let's just say that relationship didn't end in, friendship. I haven't talked to her since the ending of that relationship.
I think this is the first official.
When I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, that didn't work out. So, whatever. And I'm not going to get into the details of why it didn't work out. I mean, like, I don't want to air dirty laundry. And I, again, wish her all the best. And I'm cheering for her. Hope that she has a beautiful, wonderful life. But he calls me and just tell me, basically, don't come here because your ex-fiance showed up, which is fine. Which is totally fine. In fact, nice job looking out, trying to avoid an uncomfortable conversation, meeting. And cool, good, cool. She leaves, she ended up leaving. She just stayed for a little bit. And so he calls me, he's like, okay, you guys can come down, blah, 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 whatever. And so I was like, okay, because I did have something to talk about with him. And so I get there. And the thing that we're talking about right now is we're not talking about my private life. We are going to talk about my private life, but I want to talk about sexism in this country.
Okay.
Sexism in this country, we've talked about it several times before, but one of the weirdest things that falls into the sexism category here in Japan is that there's this complete, like, it's almost like a characterization of women that they're stupid and that they're not responsible for themselves. And it's like, I forgot what that principle is. Oh, I'm kicking myself for not knowing this. You should Google it. But there's like this principle. It's basically, it's a test. It's not a principle. It's a test. And it's basically like, does the story have two female characters who talk to each other without the inclusion of talking about a male? I forgot the name of the test, but it's basically, that's what it is. And
I don't know how to pronounce that. Bechdel test?
Yeah, Bechdel test, whatever. So that's, once you think about that test for just a second, you start to look at all the media that we consume. You're like, wow, there is really no time when two women characters talk to each other about not a man. And it's just like, wow, right? And it just blows your mind. The second you notice that, you're like, oh my God, I didn't see all this sexism that's all around me all the time. Okay, let's get back to Japan. So in Japan, they honestly think that women, not everyone, but there's this like common feeling amongst men and women that women are just kind of waiting around for a man to direct them. And so there's no responsibility whatsoever that falls upon, and this is, again, stereotyping, big blanket statements here, but this is, just like a generalization. But there's like no responsibility that falls upon them. And I've seen this not just in my life, but I've seen this in other people's lives, that if there's a relationship with a man and a woman and it falls apart or there's a problem, it doesn't matter what the girl does, it's the guy's fault. Because the woman is seen, she's so dumb or stupid or whatever that she can't possibly be responsible for her own actions. So here, let me give you an example. This is not what happened between me and my ex. Don't confuse that. But here's just an example. Let's say you got a boyfriend and girlfriend, and the girlfriend's cheating.
Okay.
In any world, in any place in the world, bad girl.
Right. Cheating is wrong.
Cheating is wrong. In Japan, a lot of people will think, what is the boyfriend doing to make that girl cheat? All of a sudden, the girl is not a human being with rights and a brain, and like general like will, what is it, like her own free will, right? She's just reacting to the output of this man who's a real person. That's one example. Here's another example. So you'll have like, maybe a wife is, maybe you're married and the wife is just a fucking bitch. She's just a bad person. And like every single day, the husband who's like working really hard comes home and she's just a fucking terrible, awful person to him. No one ever thinks in Japan, that woman should maybe get some help, go to counseling, anger management, figure her shit out, be a happier person. No. Why are you making your wife so angry? What are you doing to make your wife this way? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's never, let's focus on the woman and see what's wrong with her. Ever. And this is, again, men and women both do this. And I was just sitting there thinking, because I was having a conversation with this restaurant owner who he just saw my ex. And then I come in and he's kind of drunk. And he's fucking digging into me for everything that happened in the relationship. And as in the context of it's all my responsibility. And when I pointed it out to him, I said, dude, it takes two to tangle. And, and in all fairness, everybody has responsibility for things that happen in the relationship. But I'm like, I don't understand how her actions, her decisions, or any woman's decisions could be just mine or some man's responsibility. Like if you go home and your fiance just like belts you in the face, you're not gonna be like, geez, did I make her do that? I really need to think about my life. You'd be like, what's wrong with you? Right. I mean, now, of course, they're like, when you're in a couple, people do react to each other. But sometimes people, again, this is not my situation, but sometimes in a relationship, a girl can just be an awful person. Right. It happens. And it's not because the guy is making it happen. It's just because she's an awful person. The reverse of this is absolutely true. If a guy is acting like a complete fucking asshole and cheating, it's his decision. Oh, he's a cheater. It's not, oh, is his wife a bad wife? Is she like good and like satisfying him sexually? She will never have responsibility for anything that happens because she's not a person. I mean, it's like every single time I get, and this happens in a lot of different flavors, but every single time this happens to me, I just look at them, I'm like, what do you think women are? Do you think they're just like NPCs that exist around us for the men? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Have you seen this in your life?
I haven't seen it in my life yet, so I can't really comment too much about it, but I do notice that there is a lot of like emphasis on like the men, no matter like what the situation is, like on the news and stuff like that. When they say like, oh, this person cheated, they say like, okay, well, like, and all the emphasis is like on the man in the relationship, right, more than the girl. I guess
because the girl's not a person. She doesn't count, or she's always like the victim, or she's always like kawaii or whatever, or just, oh, she's too dumb to know. It's like they just write off the female in the situation, and then they're like, oh, but that logical in charge man, he's the bad one. And I'm just like, why do you guys think this? In the West, I think because of feminism, women standing up and saying like, I'm a person too. If you were in this situation where like, if a woman was always having to be seen through the context of the actions of a man, they'd be like, fuck you, I'm my own person. I can make my own decisions. I live my own life.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it in our Patreon video, but one of our patrons asked us questions about like sexism and feminism in Japan, and that's going to be a future talk.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that one soon.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah, but like I just remember like I was really pissed off with this last week, and I really wanted to talk about it, but we were like, me and Alex, I think had like fun time, and I didn't think about it. But yeah, really.
Oh, you didn't have a fun time.
No. I just promised them last week that we'd talk about it this week.
I get it.
And so like. It just made me like, it blew my mind. And I just straight up asked the question. I was like, so what, and this is back to my personal life, but I said, okay, what is she responsible for? And he had to think about it. He was just like, nothing. I was like, oh, that must be really nice. Anyway, because this show kind of went negative at the end here, I'm kind of pissed off. We'll give you guys something fun to watch.
Bonus.
All right, guys. See you guys.
Bye.
Go check it. Whoa. Hi. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hayato. Hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Hello.
Blast from the past.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
I mean the phrases.
We used it on the radio today. What are you doing here?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? Pal. Okay, I just came here to use the toilet. All right. I don't have time.
All right. Hayato, you got to promise that you're going to come back and be on the show one day.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. I think your last episode was like almost a year ago, maybe more.
This is maybe more.
Yeah. You should come back and do an episode.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I've been looking at my phone. Been waiting the whole time. Like, I get no phone calls.
All right. We'll bring you back.
Yeah.
Before Natsuki comes back from her maternity leave, we'll bring you back on.
That's right. Yeah. Call my manager first, though, man. Busy AF, man.
All right. Don't you have to use the toilet now?
All right. Yeah, I gotta go.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.